Wonderful. Then, great. Let's. He is a funny guy. Let's get this thing going. You got some pressure now, Ryan. You got to turn it on. Got to turn it on for us.
Hey everyone. My name's Ryan. I really like Elm. No, hey guys. I'm Ryan. I designed this thing, elm-spa. We're gonna take a look at some of the patterns that I learned from it. Uh, Mostly, I'm just gonna make
Yes.
fun of my ability to design a package because I released a new version, but it's a secret, so don't tell anyone yet. But 3.0 had a lot going on, and hopefully, we're gonna take the interesting parts from it and try to use it with Elm pages today, so that we don't have to
Yes.
type a bunch of boilerplate over and over again.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, it's kind of so for anyone who doesn't know Elm Spa, Ryan, you want to give like a really quick elevator pitch?
Totally, totally. Yeah, so LMSPA kind of came out of me making Elm applications over and over and over again. There was a set of things I found myself repeating, and the big thing that I kept repeating was routing, making like routes for URLs. So like the homepage, that slash goes there, slash about should go to the about page, all that stuff. Um, just kind of having a convention for when I want to have a really simple page or I want to have a really complicated page. How do I plug all those in together so it makes sense? So Elm-spa is two things. There's an Elm package, and then there's a CLI tool. So the CLI tool is totally optional. Like you don't have to use that. But what it does is it automatically generates those routes, and it automatically puts together your pages like the init, update, view, subscriptions, stuff you might be familiar with if you've built applications in Elm before. But yeah, it's kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
library that has these helpers. I mean, Dylan's got his screen.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, we'll share it soon.
Uh,
But
we can switch over to that now. Yeah, here's the screen so people can see.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these kind of functions, this page.static you see on line 21, that's a little bit that LMSPA kind of adds,
Mm-hmm.
which helps you build more complicated things out of simpler things.
Right.
So did you just run LMSPA in it here? Is that
Actually,
what this guy
that's
is?
exactly what I did. Yep,
Sweet.
yep. I literally just ran, npm install global Elm Spa, and then I did Elm Spa init and gave it a folder name, and then I did Elm Spa build to run the generated code, and then I did a git init git commit, and that's where this is right now. So this is the
Sweet.
basic starting point of an Elm SPA. Do you call it spa or SPA? I
I don't know what I call it.
like
That's why that word is garbage. Like I don't even know how to pronounce it.
yeah.
And I mean, I was supposed to do the talk in Tokyo, and I was not prepared to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Elm
exactly.
SPA. Evan gave a really good talk, like a deconstruct comp talk, where he's like, they have multiple pages. This isn't even
Yeah.
like a good. This isn't
Yeah,
even a good
what's
name for
what's
the
a
thing.
spa? It's like an app with multiple pages. It's a single page
Uh,
app is an app that has multiple
yeah,
pages. That's the definition. Yeah.
yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, if your app did have just a single page, you probably don't need SPA, which doesn't really make
Right.
sense. Kind of counterintuitive.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, you call what you want.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, so
just
I noticed that yeah, I'm gonna say spa just because that I'm sticking to my guns there because I like saying it. It's like relaxing, it's like getting
fresh.
a nice sauna, maybe a massage.
If I could code with cucumbers over my eyes, I would do it. But
Wouldn't we all?
it's just really hard to see, you know.
That's true. Give it 20 years. Give it 20
20
years.
years.
Yeah.
All
Um
right.
but yeah, so like let's walk through a few of the things that so like okay, what we're going to do in the coding session today. Got to feel the code we're hearing in the chat. That's very true. Yeah, got to use the force maybe. Or is that not cool anymore since Disney took over Star Wars? Um so what we're gonna do on the stream today is we're gonna go through and we're gonna kind of combine two worlds, um, and we're gonna try to apply some of the lessons that like Ryan has encapsulated in Elm SPA, and apply those lessons and abstractions to try to improve the Elm Pages starter template. Um, so before we do that, let's like walk through and look at what some of these patterns are. So like, um, one of the first things that caught my eye was we've got this like global module, and this global module, I noticed it does not live in the generated folder, right? It's something that you generate for the boilerplate, but like this is just my code that you generated for me, but then I take ownership of it, right? That's the intention.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, everything outside of that generated is just standard Elm code that you would type if you're making any app.
Right.
And there's only two files that generate, and it's not the Elm package that's generating it; it's that CLI tool that's doing all the generation for us.
Right.
So if you want, you could type all this stuff out by hand.
Right. So the code, just to clarify for people watching, you're saying that the code in the generated folder is generated by by your package and the elm-spa build command, but the elm-spa init command just gives you this sort of like initial template, and that's
exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can use so Elm SPA or Elm Spa has 3 commands. I'm just going to adopt yours, though, and it just seems
Let's
nice.
do it, Ryan. Let's not apologize. Let's not be spa apologists.
So yeah, Elm Spa has 3 commands. It's got init, add, and build, and only build is the one you would need to like introduce in like a build step if you really wanted to. But you can use the Elm SPA package with no build step and just use the init and add to get started. It doesn't tie you into the tool at all.
Yep.
So yeah, so thanks. Yeah, so like the init will just kind of create a new project, a scaffold, adds a new page. So if you run like Elm SPA add help, that'll give you kind of some examples of like the kinds of pages you can add.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so like you can add static, sandbox, element, component. We'll take a look at those. Those I really took from the Elm browser package. I stole those with the exception of application being renamed to component.
Right.
Because it makes a little more sense, but maybe not that much sense.
Yeah, it seems like you're kind of taking this advice from Richard Feldman's talk and encoding it into like a CLI that helps you do those things. And the talk I'm referring to is, I can't remember the name of it. It was
Oslo Elm one, right?
Oh, that's a nice one too, and that has a similar message. But I'm thinking about an Elm Europe keynote he gave where he said, basically like, should your Elm pages be components that have their own update and init and message, or should they just be a view, or should they, should you pass in data to them? And he said like, whatever the minimum you could get away with. Right? Yeah. So don't by default just make everything a component. It's not that having a component is bad, but don't let it be the default thing that you do as a starting point. Do it when you really need it.
Yeah. He had another one where he kind of built on that, where he referred to something called Elm fork knife.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Where it's like, in when I'm eating, it was kind of a silly metaphor, but he was saying like, if I'm eating soup, all I need is a spoon. The fork and the knife doesn't really make sense. And if I'm eating, I don't know what it was, like rice or something, he's like, I want to have a fork. I don't know if that was it. And then he's like a fork and a knife would be great for like cutting up some chicken, eating some chicken. But like, am I just gonna go like create one utensil that like solves everything? Because then it's like a uniform API, and that's a good thing.
Totally.
So the Elm fork knife was kind of a joke that came out of it.
Right. It's like the this XKCD generalizing the problem. Like, can you pass the salt? I know, I'm developing a system to pass arbitrary condiments.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the big goals with LMSPA is just pick the simplest page for the job.
Right.
And then let that package kind of expand out things so that it's all a uniform thing at the top.
Yeah, that's cool. So, well, in the spirit of picking the simplest thing, maybe should we just take one of these for a spin and try the simplest thing?
Totally. Let's do it. Yeah.
So I think we already have top, which is like our index, right? So like, should we do hello?
Sure. Yeah. So when you add that, that'll create a new. That just creates a new file. So when you do that, you've
Mm-hmm.
got this new file. You should be able to command click it, I think, and it'll open it
Oh,
up. That's
I'm
what I've
in
been doing. And ooh,
I think that will not open it in the place I want.
okay.
Because I'm not doing it from like a fancy terminal within VS Code. But yeah, here's our hello that was just generated.
And all that does is it's a template and it just replaces line 1 with hello,
Right.
line 28, 29 with hello. And it's pretty
And
simple.
it
But this is kind of
almost
the
gave me the
boilerplate.
code I was about to build, which was just had
Perfect.
one thing missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
and so you also generate like the boilerplate that gives us an npm start,
yeah. Yeah.
which
And you can run npm run dev, which will, yeah, exactly.
dev is right. So
So there's something weird I'm using here concurrently. For Windows folks, you can't use that single @ sign to run two commands at once.
right.
But basically, he's going to run those two, the elm-spa dev command and the dev elm command together. So elm-spa is going to watch for file changes in that pages folder and just run that elm-spa build command.
Yeah,
And then
I like that
it's going to use.
pattern a lot. It's basically like spinning up everything you need, and this is cool too because it's you're using I don't even know how to pronounce this, chakadar. Like
Akadar.
what
Yeah, that's what
even
I've said.
is that term? But
Yeah,
but that's pretty
but it's
sweet that
hard to
you're,
say.
yeah. I should consider doing something like this for like an Elm GraphQL boilerplate or something, maybe. I don't know. But I like the idea that you're, when you run your dev server for your SPA, that it just generates whatever code it needs to in the background. So it's always up to date when a certain
Totally.
thing
Yeah.
changes. So that's
It
cool.
makes you feel more comfortable about ignoring that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I've worked in places where like when the build process isn't where it needs to be, people are like afraid and they're committing generated code. And when you
Right.
distribute that problem, it becomes really scary because then you're like editing code that's going to get overwritten and stuff like that. So it's nice to have a good like dev flow like this.
Yeah, just that feeling of confidence that it's not going to be out of sync. You just use it and it just works. That's nice. Okay, so I'll use your npm start command that our your init command gives us. So I'm running a server, and now we can go to /hello, and there's the
There you
little
go.
hand waving. That's awesome. So it gives us routing, and if we look at like the route, so I guess if we look at the diff or the changed files, so nothing has changed here.
You're not going to see it because it's get ignored, I think.
Oh, right, because it's get ignored. Right.
Yeah.
So if we go to this generated route module, then it's pointing to hello, and it's parsing.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to add it right now to your Git, and then let's just add another page and see what changes.
I mean, I think we could see pretty well, like these are the hello related things. I'm pretty I think that's pretty clear. It's like this line gets added. It
Totally.
adds this route, which is cool too, because now we can refer to this route. We can do to href. So we can, so like, okay. So let's go to like the global components. So this, you've got this layout module here that gives us like the navbar and stuff. So if I wanted to add a link to that, so you're using this pattern here, which is super cool. You do route.tohref, which is kind of like the kind of thing that you'd tend to arrive at in a production elm-spa, right? That you like have a custom type that represents your types of routes, and you have a function that turns it into a string when you need to for creating a link. So that's cool. So we've got a custom type, and I mean, if we wanted to, we could even abstract like a little link helper that takes one of these or something. So all sorts of cool stuff we can do with that. And
which one is it? Yeah, this would be great because if we abstracted that, you would have probably caught that right away, right?
Right.
But now I've got all that code you got to look at. Yeah, you can. I think you can
There she
refresh.
is. Cool. Hello. Oh yeah,
So when you
we're
click
there.
that, it goes slow.
Yeah.
There you
Nice.
go.
Nice. Nice.
So that's the idea, yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
if you made a typo with that route, you'd find out about it there. It would be
Totally.
like if you accidentally fudged the string.
Yeah, that's
This is what's
fantastic.
great about Elm Live. If folks haven't used Elm
Yeah.
Live, it's dope.
Yeah.
I did not make it. What is it? Will King?
Yeah, he's the maintainer now. Yeah. Yeah, he's done a
Yeah,
great job
really
with it.
really awesome.
Yeah.
I remember when LMSPA 3.0, I was going to announce that. I was really excited about it. I was using Parcel, which is another great tool, especially if you're using like SAS and other non-Elm asset stuff. And I was like, I've heard these good things about Elm Live. Let me try it out. And like within a minute, I was using it and it just worked. And I was like, all right, I'm shipping this.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys enjoy your work. What is that like?
That's my buddy. He's funny. He's got jokes. I see you, Pat. I've just identified a man on the internet by his.
Nice. Oh, that's is that legal? Yeah.
That's legal.
Oh,
It's legal
good.
for sure.
Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so this is great. So are there any other patterns we should get it? This is fantastic. I think this is much needed, and I think it's exciting to have something that like I like the way that you've like approached the solving this problem simply,
Mhm.
but solving a problem well that's like a problem that everybody has who's building an Elm spa. So this is super cool.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. I think for the version 3, I went overboard and tried to solve a lot. And what I like about 4 is it's a lot more focused. And
Yeah.
I think folks are going to be able to pick it up a lot easier and really focus on what the package is about, which is just let's fix the routing problem and leave the rest up to the people are smart. They're going to be able to do the other stuff. I don't need to create like a full
Totally.
thing
We don't
around.
need a fork knife. We can, if you give us a fork
Yeah.
and a knife, we'll, yeah, that's great. Um, okay, so should we switch gears here and play around with the starter repo for Elm pages?
Totally. Let's do it. Yeah.
Cool. Let's jump in, and then we can toggle back and forth if there's something to talk about, some pattern in Elm SPA. So cool.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into that repo.
Yeah. You gave me this GH command and I'm so happy. I still have to
Yeah,
install.
yeah.
This is brilliant.
All about the
It's
GH command.
what a game
I
changer.
can post a link to that later. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. It if you don't have a repo, it'll clone it for you, and if you do
Mhm.
have a repo, it'll just jump into that directory, and it has auto completion. It's pretty nice. Yeah,
Pretty nice. Pretty slick.
pretty good. Um, okay, so let's jump
The only CLI tools
into
that I can make just turn strings into other strings. That's it. Like that's
well,
the extent.
that's
I'm not
code,
doing Git
right?
stuff.
That's all code is. Yeah.
It's all code. Yeah.
Concatenating strings. Okay, so this is like a Doc Ryan consultation. Also partially just I've been like I think I've been a little sloppy in the boilerplate in how I've been like abstracting some of these things. So I need a Doc Ryan rescue here. So maybe I'll walk you through the boilerplate here a little bit.
Sure.
So what I'd like to improve, like the first thing I think would be kind of cool to improve is just maybe I think I've got things like inverted the wrong direction where I'm repeating this header function everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I should be maybe extracting this out and calling the header function, or like I don't know, like a layout function, some sort of
Sure.
thing that wraps it with the main layout. And
Yeah.
you
No.
know
Definitely.
what I mean? Instead of like call the things that the layout has at the top, I should call the layout helper and then pass in the main view for the page. So
Totally.
so
Yeah, I mean, that's just a function you can make, right? Function that takes in a page and then just spits out whatever it puts the page where it's supposed to go. I think that would be a good.
That's a good starting point, right? Yeah, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what you've got here in your components module. You've got you've got this nav bar. So this components module that you generate when you do elm-spa init has it has this little encapsulated nav bar in it, which makes sense. That makes sense for the knowledge of how to display a nav bar to live in this sort of layout module.
Sure.
And then the footer lives there, and then you've got a layout function, and then this layout function is being called right here. So the view just takes whatever page view and just dumps it in there, and it knows how to present that.
Totally. And it makes you wonder why I even have a global view at all. You could probably just call the component directly, and that's kind of your call. But yeah, I like to put all my components in that and have all my imports for if I'm using Elm UI, Element, and I'm using HTML, I'll do that.
Right.
And then just kind of use these higher level things.
Right. Like I'm doing element.layout, and then like each page, and I'm not completely content with like the Elm pages starter layouts and stuff. Obviously they need some love. Like this, the width is probably too big for a large display here, and there are lots of things to clean up. But a good starting point to like cleaning up those things and improving those things is just to have the right abstraction so you can change it in one place and have one source of truth for those things. So
totally, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, should I make a little so you called it components. What was your thinking for calling this components?
So components, I named it that so people would look at it and be able to say, oh, that's where I'm going to put on my reusable UI. Components is kind of an overloaded word. I think in a lot of my projects, I also use just UI as the file. It also makes the import easier. So you just import like UI.layout, UI.navbar.
Yeah.
You kind of have a choice. I mean, you have a choice with Elm. You can either make a components folder and then have like a navbar.elm and a footer.elm and all that stuff. I find for most things, it's if you can get away with just exporting a function that takes in like what kind of like, I don't know, like a view model or what kind of properties does that thing need to render.
Right.
It becomes a lot easier to reuse. And you don't have to do that whole component pattern for everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if something is literally used in one place, then it's actually better to hide those details from the outside world. It's actually just cluttering up your global space. So yeah, I like that too.
Totally.
I'm kind of the term layout kind of speaks to me. Do you?
That's totally cool. Yeah, I mean, I treat layouts and components the same.
Okay.
Because they're all just functions that just spit out some HTML, take in some input.
Right.
But you could just as well make a layout. Elm SPA 3 had layouts because it intertwined them with how transitions worked and stuff. But once I got rid of that restriction, I kind of did away with the layout thing. Like, everything's just it's a component function.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
But yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like this definitely seems like something that belongs in the responsibility of the layout module.
Cool.
And then let's see. Yeah, so this is like duplicated everywhere.
Yeah, I think your layout function could just take that record. If you look at how the components file works with the init, it literally just sends in that little bit of the body that it needs to render. And on line 15, it just says, this layout's got all this stuff. And just here, right? And that line, that's where I want to put where the page is.
Totally.
So you can even add styling around at every page, which is nice.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Yeah, so that's cool. So I like how it's returning the... it takes a document and then it wraps it. So, okay, cool. Let's try that. So this is taking some sort of document-y thing, and it's taking the title from that,
Mhm. And what's cool is if you have some like rule for your site where you always want to take the title and then at the end put like
Right.
type Elm pages, that's a really easy place to put that single string and not have to worry about.
That is cool. Yeah.
Uh, but I avoided that because for the home page, I don't want it to say home type Elm pages. I just want it to say Elm
It
pages.
can
So
get a little
I
cluttered.
left the page to it.
Right. But if you want to put like a little heart before each thing or,
Yeah.
unicorn. Yeah.
Or a broken heart if you're having a rough day, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm fine.
If you're writing it in Elm, then it might just be a heart.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So this is going to be the body, and this is going to return. This is going to return whatever Elm Pages wants it to return.
Cool.
Which is this. Well, now, actually, no. This is not going to return what the Elm Pages view function wants to return because that's a little more complex. It's just going to be the view related stuff because in Elm Pages
It's just gonna be that view return type, right?
yeah, exactly. It's just going to be this particular thing because the view
Cool.
is actually a little different in Elm Pages. You can return like head tags too. So like you could well let's take this first step and then step back from it and see. There might
See how
be
we feel.
a common thing to encapsulate there. But let's see what happens. So
Yeah.
my gut feeling is it's just going to be the body here.
Yeah, I think this is a great place to start, just that
Yeah.
little bit, and I think we can, if we want to, we can upgrade, and that'll use the advanced module. Because right now we can just use the straight up home SPA because it's returning a document, right? We're just doing a title and a body HTML here.
Right. Okay, so let's try calling this somewhere. So all of these guys are returning this title body and then just returning it here. So actually we could, as it is, we could just like take this exact thing. Actually,
Perfect. Yeah.
and then all we're going to do is just say layout.view.
Yeah. We don't even need to do structure anymore. Just kind of nice.
Oh yeah, I could just do this. Whoops. There we go.
Cool. Feels good, man.
Feels good. That's a good start.
Cool. We just got some imports on the other side.
There we go. Was that? Oh, I imported it.
Oh, layout. Yeah, layout just needs access to element and stuff like that. Inside of there, yeah.
Gotcha. Nice.
I'm really loving this IntelliJ autocomplete life
I know.
that you're living.
I wish I could.
I'm a little bit upset.
I wish I could take like the best features of all of the IDEs and just merge them.
Merge them. Merge sort.
There we go. I think that's a commit.
That's a commit.
There we go. Cool. Oh, let me. Okay. Cool. Checking on the chat. We're good. Alrighty. So let's see what. So we've still got this duplication. Like there's sort of like if we go to the blog, actually the blog has right now the blog kind of has its own margin sizes and stuff, which is not like an intentional design decision. Like really, that should be a global layout thing. So maybe
Sure, yeah. There's some challenges with putting it at the very top level. For example, like that header you have, see the border bottom?
Totally.
So
Right.
if you make container a reusable function, you can just wrap it around whatever you want. That's like something I would do. So I'd say within header, I'll use container. And then within this body, I'll use container. But instead of wrapping around the whole thing.
Well, if we do it in the layout, then I can just say like, take whatever I hand you as the body of this document and then wrap it with the header and the footer, and the header and the footer take up the full width, but then we can set a max width for the body.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we can
Yep.
kind of fix this kind of eyesore here. So yeah,
Sweet.
let's try it. Okay, so if we look for the blog or articles, this is the layout for those. So we've got a bunch of we've got this mix of here it's displaying the header stuff. This is sort of the top level view stuff. And then we're saying here's the padding and the max width. And then region.main content, which Elm UI, you don't just use a main HTML tag, you do this region thing. And these things should just be encapsulated by the layout module. So this is actually kind of exactly what we want to do. We're just going to need to tweak this. So this is going to be some header thing. This stuff we just want to do everywhere.
And that's the content you want to.
This is the content.
Swap out with document body.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Does IntelliJ have a shortcut for steal it? Is that a thing? You can just be like header, just bring it on over.
I wish there was an extract function of module. I don't know if you've been in a situation where you've had to write Java.
Oh. Yes.
But I'm telling you,
the IDEs support some pretty cool stuff.
IDE support is insane, and there's no reason that Java IDE stuff should be better than Elm's. Elm is a language with much better guarantees. Elm could have way better IDE tooling than Java. It's just not there yet. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the day we get there.
Not my project, man. It's just someone else do it.
I know.
This stream's about inspiring people. I don't want to do it.
You know how much money I would pay for that? Lots of monies.
We got a hi in the chat. Hello.
Hey, welcome. Lucier, sorry for butchering your name. That I feel like some people are just really good at confidently trying to pronounce people's internet handles on streams and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have that skill yet. I need to work on that.
That's a tricky one.
So this is also not. I think that it's a good sign when you see a bunch of dependencies and imports and stuff disappearing from your main module.
Yeah, I love that feeling.
Yeah,
that was the big motivation for making that components file, because you just import those in one spot, and then every component you write after that, you're done.
I really like that, and I mean, one of the things I love about functional programming in general is this sort of localized reasoning, where if you want to think about what a particular thing is doing, you don't have to pull the entire context in your head. You can think about something as one unit by itself.
Totally. Yeah.
And this kind of leverages that ability of functional programming to be able to think about things without the whole context in a nice way.
Yeah, for sure. It really helps, teams, distributed, teams and stuff. They're trying to collaborate, but they haven't built every part of the app.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. I'm liking
I made it tricky so people feel guilty when trying to say it right. I love it. Hello, Buddha 98. I could pronounce that one.
Oh, you took the easy one. That's no fair.
Yeah, I'll take the easy ones.
Now you're making
and
me
then you'll just
bad.
look like a jerk. Yeah. That's the game.
Hey. Oh, not a lot of red. We're getting close. Okay, so
you can nix line 19 now, I think. Because you've inserted it inside.
Yes. Cool.
Who that page?
We need the path, so I guess we should pass this in.
So another thing I did, it's really not LMSPA specific. When I make these components, I do records just so that I don't get weird shadowing collisions later. So I have one property options, and I just pull stuff off. So that's like another optional thing to
Wait,
do
sorry. What?
as you add stuff.
Walk me to the code. What? Say that
So
again.
like on line 9, I
Yes.
like to use a record because when I want to add a property,
Gotcha.
sometimes I'll add a property
Yeah.
like, let's say like nav bar or something, and I don't want it to collide on line 10 when I destructure it with the nav bar on line 22.
Right.
So I'll just like use options or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's like once I'm adding more and more properties, if I'm making like a really big component,
Right.
I'll kind of put it all on a record so the
Totally.
caller knows what they're passing, and then so I don't get weird
Right.
shadowing errors.
Yeah, that's a nice pattern. And then you can just reach in and grab stuff, and you can use like auto completion to see like what do I have available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that too.
Another thing that's interesting, components a lot of the time you'll be passing in strings. You'll be passing in like, oh, this is the title, this is the description, and if you're passing in 2 arguments and you swap them, Elm can't help you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be less likely to mix it up if you're saying title equals this, description equals that. And I've seen some people go to like strong types to fix the swappability problem.
Yes.
For like titles and descriptions, it's a real expensive thing to do.
Exactly.
To say I'm going to make a description type and a title type.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing actually. That like so what Ryan's talking about, I think is yeah, you're saying like display like, I don't know, book cover view, and you're saying that like you could have like type book description,
yeah,
and then like author name, and then you have like a book cover view takes a book description and an author name, and then you're like, oh, I know that now I know that this is what I think it is. And you're saying, well, you could do it with a record, and you could just say author name and description, and it's kind of or like
yeah, I'll usually do that. I'll type out the record because I don't really use it in multiple places.
Right.
And I just call that like props or options or something. And if you want, you can use the extraction or the destructuring thing,
right,
instead of details, and it has the same effect.
Right.
But now it's a little bit trickier to mix them up.
You could use that, or you could do, this, and then now you have access to the author name, and like there's a certain, I mean, they're both strings, and I don't know. I think you have to be aware of both of these techniques and use your judgment. But
totally.
But I completely agree with you that like it's okay to use like field names and records as one tool to like make your code less error prone. What's this sweet IDE? This IDE is IntelliJ. So this is the free. This is completely free to download, and I'm using the IntelliJ Elm package, which they've got some cool docs here that show off some of the features. It's got some really nice stuff. Okay, cool. So let's delete this so I don't accidentally commit it. And
all of a sudden, Elm Pages becomes like this book-related app, and we don't know why.
Right.
But a lot of librarians are pulling down the package, and it's getting wild.
Well,
page.path is what you want. You're just passing in the path of the page.
For the
layout.
With what you were saying, I was thinking like maybe we just pass the record.
Cool.
And then pull down the page. Yeah. So like view, it takes, I'm too lazy to annotate this for now. Is that compiling?
You're passing in a document. Are we Save that file again. What's
Required
wrong with it?
list. Wait, what's it saying? Oh, does it want? Oh, it's saying that body needs to be a list of elements, but it is a single element. So
Got it. Wrap that in brackets. Perfect.
That'll do the trick.
Type annotation would have helped.
Yeah, what I've been
Annotation would have brought you
doing.
straight there.
This is pretty good.
I like that a lot, and the
Yeah,
autocomplete's nice
that's
because it's
pretty good.
more accurate than the hard coded type. It's like I don't really need
Yeah,
a thingamajig. I could just have the title and the body, and I'd be happy.
that's true. That's true. Although I did go to the trouble of copying this guy, so I may as well.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah. Sure. Cool. For some of these things, I'll take that generic parameter and I'll I mean, in this case, it wouldn't make sense,
Yeah.
but I'll make it like a lowercase version of the type I use. So I'll say like document pipe with a lowercase d.
Oh,
So at least you
totally.
kind of get a sense of what it is.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
that's just something I recently started doing.
Yeah. I'm also a fan. There's a lot of like using the like just using a as type variable names, and I think especially for like package docs. Lucier.
Yeah, he figured it out.
He told us
They figured it out.
we got a taste of our own medicine for not paying attention.
Oof.
We could have had the answer sooner. Yeah. Anyway,
Smile.
I think that docs ought to use well-named type variables more often instead of just calling it a. I try to do that, but I'm not always the best at it. Okay, so this is looking better.
Nice.
Are we doubly? I think we're doubly wrapping these things now. So
Totally.
see.
It'll be a blast. That blog layout's gonna be dope.
Yeah. Well,
You're gonna have some nice headers and headers.
it's probably just gonna it's probably ooh yeah.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Now that's a page.
Let's ship it. Actually,
Look at how the blog's just syncing up. Look at that.
Did I ship it? No. Okay. Oh, I haven't pushed
Did I
yet.
ship it? Oops. When your deploy pipeline's too smooth.
Exactly. Too smooth for my own. I mean, really, I should probably be like pull requesting this anyway, but too late. Well,
You can play God with your own code base.
That's right. That's right. I could force push. We're good. So cool. Okay, so let's fix this. So it's saying header everywhere now. Should we just get rid of that?
Yeah. So I would just make it only return that text column on line 170, right? And get rid of all that stuff because you encapsulated the stuff that matters.
Only return. Sorry, only return what?
I would delete that whole list right there that you've got selected because you've got the padding and what's that view for the page?
Okay, so right. I've got the main so this is redundant, this is redundant. So we want the view, the view for the page. So what view for page is this is in Elm pages, we have this content folder here and we're like, here's a blog post.
Yeah.
And we're so we're rendering this using whatever markdown renderer you can pass in. It's configurable. And it renders that into the view for the page. So that's what that is. That's like, but
is that your markdown package? The one that I said I loved on a live stream.
I haven't started. I'm using the elmpages.com site uses my markdown parser, but this one is using the Elm Explorations markdown parser for now. I should change it over.
It's simple enough. I mean,
it's simple enough. Yeah, totally. And it's
the job done.
I think it's mature enough at this point. A couple of months ago, it wasn't quite there, but I think it's pretty much there at this point.
Cool.
So yeah, that's what view for page is. So now the thing is, some of these are just showing view for page, but some of them are like adding additional information. Like, so this, like a blog post is taking the rendered markdown, but it's also taking additional things from the markdown, like the author, the title of the blog post, the
Got it.
cover image. So
That
here's
front
like
map.
article image view. It's taking that front matter, which gets parsed into metadata. So
Mm-hmm.
we've got this metadata, and the view for a blog post page is just adding some additional context in addition to the view for the page.
Okay.
So like maybe we can try abstracting this out here, and so, well,
Totally.
I guess the return type. Let's start there. So our return type. No, it's going to be the same return type because we're still returning the title and taking it there. We're returning the body. So our return type is not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to render the surrounding content here.
Mm-hmm.
Although we may actually want to change it to be like a list. That may actually be the appropriate thing for this to return a list of stuff. So let's see. Like what I want to do here is I want to delete this generic stuff. Oh, I guess we have like a column.
I would use a list for this.
Yeah. And
just to be
indeed
uniform with.
And that's totally what this is already.
For document. Yeah.
So that, yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So let's make it a list. Cool. And a bunch of stuff's going to be unhappy, but we can start here.
Oh, we can undo the brackets.
Yes.
I wonder what it is like writing browser extensions with Elm. Same. There was actually a pretty cool talk about that. Emma gave a talk about that, right? Yeah, see if we can drop a link to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Emma. At Siachu, it's something like that. I only know her Twitter handle by like vaguely pronouncing it. There we go. Emma TCU. That was in the first Elm in the Spring.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time using the internet. Just not being very good at Googling stuff.
I know the feeling.
Cool.
Do I want this? I'm going to see if I can get away with not using that and see what happens.
I'm trying to post the link. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best out here. But I just... confirmation code. It's that auth. Two-factor auth.
There we go.
How are we doing?
I think we might. I was about to say I think we might have something shown up, but almost. There we go. Let's see. Ooh, look at that.
That link for you.
Look at that max width.
Oh, what a win.
What a max width.
What a max width indeed.
Nice.
Yeah. I really love that pattern of just taking the page as an argument to the view and just saying, here, put this wherever you want the layout. Yeah. Before I was using Elm, I was using sorry, Emma's talk's playing in the background, and it's very hard to think and talk.
Yeah.
Before I was using Elm, I was using Vue, and they had this really cool concept of a slot where you could just kind of make a component and just have a slot in the component. One of the limitations was you had to like name them if you want to use multiple, but with Elm, it's just you make as many, you give it as many pieces of element or HTML you want and just put them wherever you want in the layout. You can even give them names that make sense when you read them.
Right. Yeah, this definitely feels like familiar. Like, I don't know if anybody did Jekyll back in the day, but I guess Jekyll is still cool, but 11D is the cool thing now if you're into that kind of thing. But no,
Elm Pages is the thing.
Well, that's what the really cool kids use. Yeah. But it feels like that, where you just like have your HTML template and then you're like, do the main thing in here. And that's, yeah, like, except that it's not like an opinionated like in Jekyll, it's like an opinionated part of the framework. But I think, at least it feels like that. But in Elm pages, it's or in just Elm code, it's just
a function.
code. It's just a function that returns all the stuff, and you've got to organize it. So it's our job. We should do our part, building these like templates and things for people as starting points to make it nice. So I think this is a good step. Mm-hmm. It's looking pretty
for
good.
sure.
Cool. So what? I've got some other things we could do here, but is there anything else that you can think of, Ryan, to keep going?
I think this is a good place for a commit.
I committed it. Did I
commit
cool. it? Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Whoops.
I trusted you.
Forgot
Betrayal.
the layout module. Shh. No one will know.
No one's watching, right?
No one's watching.
Remember when we started the stream and I thought you had 370 viewers? And I was like, what did you do? Everyone, if you get 1.5 people to join you, we're going to get to that 370. That's our Twitch goal for today, to match my initial hype. But yeah.
Nice. Cool. So, okay, let's just inspect what we've got here. So we've got our view function, and it does its Elm pages-y stuff, which is looking pretty nice and clean. Like, you can pretty clearly tell, like, this is doing some layout stuff to all of the page views, and then it's like rendering the individual page views. And how do you render the individual page views? Well, they give you a title, they give you a body. Some of them just give you the rendered markdown body. Some of them do special stuff. Like this one looks like it's doing a bunch of stuff.
Are any of these actually sending messages? They're all static?
Good question. Let's look at our message type here. That's our message type. So
the more you know.
The more you know. So we can send messages because it's just an Elm map, but in this starter. So actually, here's a thing that I was thinking would be fun.
Sure.
What if we updated this starter repo to have tags for the blog posts, and then clickable tags. So if you like click a tag, then you see all the posts with that tag.
Let's do it. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it just we'll just grab that view that we had, and let's just pop it in a pages.elm file, and we can start being page boys.
Grab the view. Which view?
The main.view page or page view or whatever it is.
Oh,
the one that we had that switch case in.
Oh, nice. You're saying
this is just our pages.view.
Let's be like good boys and extract this to a module. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I mean we can start by doing one, or we can
extracting things to
take
modules.
the whole thing and put it in its own.
But you should
That's
just
a wild
have
idea.
Like one giant module and put everything there.
I'm not against.
No,
don't have any mutability. Go nuts.
That's true.
But yeah, if it's a specific page, I would put it in that pages folder, unless it doesn't correspond to a route.
Totally.
So if you're doing it the brainwash elm-spa way, there'd be a pages file and there'd be a pages folder.
I like that. So this is going to be pages / although
and then whatever you want the URL to be.
We should be careful what does Elm pages expose as pages dot.
Oh, I see.
We can't call it these things.
That's funny. Okay. Yep. You don't have to call it that. You can call it
you know what? I actually I'm a fan of the singular. I don't know about you guys, but I like the singular.
I think the singular is pretty popular too. I want to say that's what Richard did for the elm-spa.
It feels right to me to say like page.article.
Sure.
Instead of like pages.article.
Oops, I'm confused. I'm typing the wrong things in a Googling. Cool. Yeah, I think he just does page. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Sweet.
Cool. Hey, I just leveled up and used a more sophisticated technique. I copy pasted all the imports from my main.elm, and then I can
You don't want.
optimize
Whew.
imports. Although, let me hold off on optimizing them because I need to grab these helper functions that I have defined here, like
And they might have more.
article image view. Yeah.
Refactoring is fun.
Yeah. And
Dreezer Twitch is Dr. Easer Twitch. Drea Cert Twitch. I don't know how to say any of these. Just
Dreas
Drea.
they're just not trying to make our lives easy here.
like desert. I don't know. But they're watching.
At least we have one viewer. That's good.
That's all we need. Honestly,
Yeah.
if we just want the one supportive person. That's all I need.
That's true.
To feel wholesome at the end of the day, you know.
Sometimes you just
something
need
deep and beautiful.
Just one smile can make your day.
Just one smile. Hi, welcome to Elm Pages.
Oh,
just one smile.
Look at all those smiles.
Some happy little clouds.
Hey, I like that. We should go with that theme, like incremental Elm Live. Turn it into Bob Ross. Get the Bob Ross fro going.
Yeah.
You know, like this module could just be our little secret. You know. I like that.
Yeah. 2, 3. Look at this.
Wow.
Gaining traction.
Oh, so many smiles.
Good vibes in the chat.
Very good vibes. Okay, so I think we can use this now.
Do it.
Which is quite lovely.
Cool.
Whoop.
Gotta be singular.
You know, my fingers at this point are so used to typing pages dot like all day long that tough habit to break. Wait. View for
Don't need
page.
it. Right? Are you passing that in? Nice. Okay. Something that's kind of cool about this.
Yeah.
If you scroll to your type declaration at the top. So, and the type declaration for page view.
Yes.
Is rendered the thing that.
Yes.
Rendered the view for page. So once we convert all these, we don't even need to include that extra argument at the end. We can literally just have our case expression, give it the metadata, and it'll return the function waiting for the rendered, which is kind of nice. If that makes sense. Like view for page, we wouldn't even need to specify on line 162 because all of them would just take that next.
Oh, you're saying that we could like do it point free?
Yeah, we could. So for elm-spa, the way the bundle's generated, all of them have the potential of using the global model. Not necessarily every page does, but actually the bundle function returns. It just takes in the page model and returns something waiting for the global, so you don't have to specify it everywhere if you don't want to.
Right. That's a cool reuse pattern. Yeah, that's an interesting one, you know, because it's powerful and I think it's kind of a subtle one, you know, that it's hard to know when to use it. But that's a cool.
Sometimes it's dangerous because someone will read the code. What is?
Yeah, I definitely, as a habit, try to specify my arguments as much as possible.
That's a good default to have. I think
it's a good default. Yeah, but then you have to keep in mind that there are times when it can clean up your code and be a good reuse pattern. So nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, when you do
we'll see if it makes sense by the end. It might not.
Yeah. Nice. Well, there's an opportunity for IntelliJ Elm to like give you a shortcut, hit that key, and it's like make it explicit, make it implicit, you know. Or if you do like list.map some function, it could be written as an anonymous function that passes that to the function. That would be a cool thing to just be able to toggle on and off.
That would be neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extension noise.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a quick coffee break. Let's just do a couple minutes, and then when we come back, we will make a nice little article helper to render that, and continue with our refactoring.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Be back in 2 or 3 minutes.
Sweet. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. Cool. So our goal here is to make everything look more like this, right? Is that what we're shooting for, or what were
I
we?
think so. Yeah. Just yep.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. And
what is this page looking like now? Is that coming through?
good question. Yeah, it's looking great. So,
Sweet.
okay, so yeah, so here's our roadmap. We want to first make our page view function
Hmm.
just be a bunch of clauses that look like this, basically, right?
Totally. Yeah. I think that's a good first
That's a
step.
good first step.
Interesting to see. Yeah, it's interesting like how you migrate from an existing versus like starting
It
fresh.
is totally, and I mean,
Def-
and the cool thing is we could stop at any one of these steps and it would be better, which is
yeah.
that's the way to approach these things, I think. So, so okay, so our first goal, intermediary goal, is to just finish cleaning this up and get these all in this form instead of just having all the details there. But then our next goal is to add tags to articles, and then we're going to introduce some local state for selecting only articles with a particular tag.
That'll be exciting.
That'll be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Cool. So, and the cool thing is this is in the Elm Pages starter repo, so people can benefit from like these improved patterns here. Now, okay, so like when we look at this guy,
Hmm.
do you think that is it necessarily an improvement if we encapsulate that? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry too much about moving each of these individual case expressions into their own
Right.
module. I think it would be for where we want to go, which is where we're actually sending messages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would move this entire case expression into its own page module. So we
Oh.
can start doing a knit update view subscriptions in that single file, and then just kind of import that in. So our main stays nice and tidy.
Oh, so okay, so now are you talking about our init model view subscriptions for like the article specific stuff?
Yeah. So if we're gonna do like state management for like the tags, for example,
Yes.
I would expect like a init update view we'd probably want to have in a module with its model and its
Okay.
message type, like you would with a fresh app. But then for those pages that are static, you don't really need to move them.
Cool.
You only need to move them into their own file if they're just simple. If
Yeah.
it helps you navigate the code base, it might be beneficial to give them their own file.
Right. That
Um,
sounds good.
that's probably my biggest perk for like putting pages in their own folder is that when I'm looking
Hmm.
at a route, I can look at the URL and get a good sense for where I can find that
That
file.
is
I think
cool.
that's a
And
big plus for
so
LMSPA.
that's a good distinction that you make too, which is that like um, you're saying that it's not always worth the effort or the time to like encapsulate it if there's not really anything to it, if there's not a ton of logic there. Um,
Mhm.
but you're saying it's convenient to be able to say, okay, here's the like where do I find this page, and then go look in a folder. And I think that's one of the problems that you try to solve with elm-spa, right? Is that
Totally.
since it's auto-generated, it's not work. It's just a known pattern,
Mhm.
and so you learn that pattern, that rule, that this is how the framework
Mhm.
structures things. If I want to find this route, this is where the file will live, and you just know to look there, and the
Totally.
framework manages that boilerplate for you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a big benefit. Like I'm coming from a JavaScript background, and just having like a convention like that, whether it's like using React and Vue, and you have a convention of how you structure things that way.
Right.
But like those their frameworks like Next and Nuxt, that's a huge benefit. Just to be able to say, I'm working at company A today. I'm start working at company B tomorrow, and we're all using this convention as opposed to everyone's inventing it
Totally.
from scratch.
Which I mean, there are a lot of cases where we can see the benefit of this. Like, Elm is very strict about this, which a lot of programming languages aren't. Where if it's called layout, then the
Hmm.
module needs to live in a file called layout.elm somewhere. And
Hmm. Yeah, that is
and
nice.
if it's called page.article, it needs to live in a folder called page in a file called article.elm.
Hmm.
You can have multiple source directories. So like the root directory could be different things. So you don't know necessarily
Sure.
exactly where it lives if you have multiple source directories, but it's it's a clear mapping, and that's
Hmm.
enforced at the tooling level. And so it makes sense that there's benefit to that also for like having these rules that are enforced by frameworks like elm-spa. Yeah, it's cool. I like that.
Sweet.
So okay, so you're saying that we're gonna have like some state for our current tag, um, right? To like
Yeah.
manage our current tag. So maybe should we start by creating that data maybe?
Sure. Yeah. Let's make that data.
Okay, so let me. Okay, so here's our content folder. Um, we've got like a blog post like hello. So we could just add tags like this.
Yeah. Just a list of strings.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh,
Sweet. So now we're gonna get some metadata here, and then we'll be able to pull that through. That comes through front matter, right?
yes. So actually, this is a cool opportunity to show how this works. Oh, and my spidey sense is tingling that I think we have a commit waiting. That's my spidey sense. Like I can't tell if there's like a crime happening or anything, but if you need a commit, Cool. I'm going to like
Oh,
use 12 different tools to do the same thing over the course of this live stream.
See, I'm all on VS Code all day, which is, I guess that's a nice part about having the Git integrated.
Yeah.
Does IntelliJ have Git, like in the
It
terminal? Can you
does.
do
And
that, or is it just
I
not as
used
nice?
it. I used it, but I
Oh,
find it like I don't know, somehow I just don't feel like I can get a good sense of the changes in this interface. I
sure.
just don't feel like I know what the changes are. Um,
Hmm.
this tool is source tree, and I look at it and I know what's changed, and it just puts me in my happy place. So
For
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I can't make up my mind between tools. I just bounce all over the place.
I'm not upset.
Cool. So okay, so we were adding some tags. So now we get to see. So this is the metadata module, and one thing that's worth pointing out is there's nothing specific about this metadata module, except that just like in a regular Elm app, you have like an init function, a view function, right? There's nothing special
Hmm.
about that. In fact, like the view function could be called whatever. Like it doesn't matter what it's called. It matters that you wire it in when you do browser.application or whatever. And it
Hmm.
has a particular type. Well, it's the same thing with Elm pages. So like our decoder, I'm wiring it in. So I'm saying, here's how you parse a markdown document. I'm just using the Elm Explorations Markdown package. And then here's how you decode the front matter for files with this extension, .md. That's all it is.
Hmm.
So I'm just passing it a decoder. It has the right type, so I can manage this however I want. I can decode to whatever type I want, and I'm just going to get the front matter as JSON, and then I give it a JSON decoder that says how to decode it. And if
Cool.
it fails, so like, let's see. So we want to update our article metadata, and we're saying that it's got tags. We could debate whether these should be like a concrete set of things or not. It's probably reasonable to just have it be strings, at least as a starting point. We could get
I think
fancy.
so. People just enter what they
I
want and
think
just have it automatically
I
pull
think
through.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Do you have a mechanism built in to, this might be a spoiler, but
Yeah. I think I might know where you're
built in
going.
to get all the tags across all these markdown files?
Oh, yes, we will be able to do that.
Okay.
Totally. So, let's see. This is tags. Now, here's another cool feature. If we run this, if we run Elm pages start.
Hmm.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's supposed to bomb out.
Yeah, but am I?
Is it debug.todo you want as opposed to decode.fail?
I think it's decode.fail that I want.
Huh.
Let's see. Type blog. So we do type blog, and then we parse the article. Oh, right. Yeah, this is why. So
Got it.
what I was thinking of is if I do npm run build, which is just do
That'll
Elm
throw
pages
up.
build.
Okay.
Yep. So if this was like the netlify deploy build or wherever you're building it, then you do the production build, and then you
Mhm.
get these familiar looking messages, which I unapologetically stole from the formatting of Elm error messages, which many of us have done.
Amazing.
Yeah, the what is it, like copying is the sincerest form of flattery. So
Something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
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 But if you're running in dev mode, Elm pages develop, then it looks like this.
Puts it in the browser.
Yep.
Nice.
So you can just keep iterating on your decoders and see the failures in the browser. So you
Cool.
see the JSON, you see the failures. So let's see what happens if we actually try to decode it. Okay, so just a list of strings. Aha, and this one doesn't have tags. Maybe it should just
The
be an
perfect
optional.
crime.
What do you think? Optional, like decode dot maybe?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Just give it a. That's a cool pattern.
first
I like that.
try. Nice. You know, it's funny. Decoders didn't fully click with me until I wrote Elm GraphQL. And then I'm like, oh, I get JSON decoders because I had to
That's funny.
write them a
Same
lot.
thing happened with me in that URL parser.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, how those special operators work, it started to make a lot more sense.
It's like a tragic irony that like you build a framework that solves the problem, and then you understand how to do the thing that you no longer have to do. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. That's funny.
Okay, cool. So this is nice. Well, I mean, we may as well commit this.
Let's do it.
Parse tags in metadata for blog posts. Cool.
For reasons.
For reasons.
My commit messages are much less helpful. If you go to the elm-spa, you're going to see some weird
stuff.
I've
got plenty of
You're
those.
Going to see some strange, non-helpful messages.
I've got so many of those. I want my IDE to automatically write an error message if I do a non-behavior changing pure refactoring. To just be like extract function, rename function.
Oh.
Just like the second I do it, does a commit, and it just says the exact guaranteed correct refactoring that it did. That's what I want.
See, whereas I want a chance to make a weird joke at
that's fair.
At every commit possible. Like I don't want anything to automate away my happiness.
I can't blame you there. And full disclosure, Ryan and I work together, and I get the joy of these ridiculous commit messages on a weekly basis. It's great.
Yes. My latest, I think, is "Oops, I did it again," and then the dancer emoji. I think I should be fired. It's just not useful to read that later. But
I mean,
it's definitely emotional.
Is a smile useful, Ryan?
That's a good question. Happy little clouds.
I think it is. I think it's useful. It's useful to me. Everybody needs a smile.
Everybody needs the world needs. You got to be able to like log in, and be able to say like, at least my commit messages are more informative than that guy, and that's like a good feeling too. You're like, oh, not doing so bad out there.
Totally.
But it's
okay. So let's display some tags. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. You said display some tags, but I heard let's play some tag.
Let's play some tag.
We can't.
You're it. What do we do next?
Panic, dude. Corona. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe chat's not ready for that. Too soon.
Is that Bob Ross in the chat window?
Yeah, it's Bob Ross.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Solid.
Just drop that in there. Apparently that's an emoji.
I love it. Okay, so we've got our article view, but we kind of want to do it in the index view. So I've already got a blog index view, which looks like this.
Nice.
And it's a little bit messy, but like we've got the post description. It's like nicely encapsulated, so it's a start. And so like maybe to start, we just say like post dot. Now we have tags, which is nice, and we didn't even have to do anything, just the magic of Elm. And we can just display the
links or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for now we can just see if this is even a thing. Yeah.
Nice. It's so crazy how straightforward Elm UI is. You just
yeah, it's
like we want text in a row, and it just did.
I know, it's crazy.
Like pizza operator be damned. Like we did good. It's that's
Yeah.
nice.
Uh,
You know what it means. It's a good time.
I know, I know. I get super spoiled and then I can't write CSS. It's great.
So I think you're doing this to the. Oh, you
You're
want to
good. You're good. You read me like a book.
like a book. I'd do it your way, man. I like it. I like what you're about to do. Let's stop map it again. Screw it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, wow, you're reading me.
You know, that's all
You're
right.
picking up what I'm
That's all
putting
right.
down. Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. This is
Throw in some classic
gorgeous.
Elm spacing. Elm UI, my favorite
Yeah,
thing that Matt did, that spacing, game changer.
absolutely.
I made some shady CSS framework, man. It's all about that
Oh
spacing.
yeah,
That's the only thing that it contributes.
absolutely. It's
But
fantastic.
spacing is brilliant. You gotta give it some more spacing there. I got fat fingers. I'm gonna tap the wrong boy. You don't want that.
How much?
Bad
Oh,
time. Give it 12.
do we
Ooh.
want spacing XY?
For these, oh, definitely. No, you want padding XY for these.
Oh, man, you're on it. You're on it. You're a
Whew,
good pair,
those are some
man.
fine
You're a good pair.
buttons.
This is a very modern looking UI. Um,
We're going to the future and then
yeah,
back
I think
and then
so. I
sideways
think so.
and then back.
Hey, how about a split view? There's an idea.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So, well, I think this is good enough to illustrate our point. Um, we might need to like
I believe it.
remove the clickiness of this and move the
I
clickiness
would,
to
yeah.
this. Yeah. So, where is the clickiness?
Element.link.
Link to post. Look at this. This is like just like writing code.
Candy from a baby. Like a dark twist on it. Just like
Yeah.
stealing from children.
Right. Like who found that
I
relatable?
I don't know. I honestly, that's a very messed up. Like, I wonder what the origin story is there. Yeah, it's just like when I stole candy from that baby the other day. This is so easy. And I'm like, I don't know.
I think that's
People are
it. I
sick.
think that's it. I think we need a short film or documentary on that.
Just tracing it back.
You know what? This is like this is really hard.
It is not.
Yeah,
You can
it's
do
not
this.
that hard, but it's like hard enough for me to complain about. Wait a minute, what is this even? This is like
I don't know.
not doing anything.
This predates me. What is this? Post summary? Oh. What's article index need? Metadata. You're not passing it metadata. You're giving it a post entry. Ooh.
Entry.
Looks like that wants metadata.
Turtles all the way down.
I am so scared. Entry. Isn't this metadata? What's wrong with the metadata?
Post.meta or
Oh, you needed the path. That's what this is.
yeah, that's what this is.
That's wild.
What a world.
story.
What a world. Can IntelliJ do that for us too? Please.
Please. I just throw in a let block because I'm lazy. You know me.
Yeah. Ooh, hey, look, that just wait. Why is that working? Oh, because I pretended it existed. False hope.
Say, do we have this the whole time?
Right.
Okie dokie. Entry. So yeah, higher up.
Yeah.
When you provide it above article, who's calling article index? I guess I think that had a different type signature. Oh no, that's post entry too.
Oh, it's a tuple.
My whole life's a tuple. Oh,
Did I do it in the wrong order? Yeah. Did it in the wrong
Classic.
order. The old flipperoo.
uh,
Hey.
hey, look,
Now we can click on this.
I'm so glad that Evan nerfed the tuple, just because we could just write JavaScript functions with parentheses and then have to worry about the order and have a bad time.
Right. That's true. That is very true. Okay. So, cool. So, okay. So now we're at the point where we can attach individual, we could attach an on-click message to the tags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
do
it. So now what message is it going to be? Well, let's just see what happens. So we've got our tag. Let's extract this to a tag view.
Cool. It's interesting. I got the habit of prefixing and you're suffixing, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just impressed. Impressed that this is something I never thought of before.
Well, there are definitely advantages to both. Yeah. There's an argument to be made either way.
I refuse to make either argument.
Let's just agree to agree. Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll just say events.onClick, and we could just.
Oh, you're playing in Elm-UI time. You got to make a button. Got to pipe that element into a button. Thought you could get away easy peasy with it.
Touche. You're keeping me honest. Wait.
Keeping you honest? Yeah, input that button.
There we are. Nice.
I've danced the dance.
This isn't your first rodeo.
So button's got on press is the first argument, and then it's got label.
By the way, this is a Control-Shift-P in IntelliJ. Indispensable.
Oof.
Yeah.
Control-Shift-P just opens up that top bar in Visual Studio Code. I don't know what it's about. It just does some freaky action, but I'm not into it.
Interesting.
That's how I get to my user settings to find out why Elm format isn't working. That's how I use Control-Shift-P.
I don't know that one. Yeah, I still have a lot to learn about IntelliJ. Or about, IntelliJ and VS Code. This is a label, and this is on press?
Yeah, on press equals, and then whatever you want the message to be.
Nice.
You can get rid of that on click.
On clickaroo.
This would be your message name.
Here's my message.
Like selected tag or something like that.
So one pattern I use sometimes is just having the message this is an interesting one, because the message could either be, there are a few ways we could go with this. We could define a type within this index view module that just has a single variant, index view message, and then it has some variant. We could define, you see what I'm saying?
You're going to make the update function send the tag because there's only one thing it can do.
Right.
Sneaky boys.
There are different ways we could go with it, but I kind of like starting as simple as possible and then going from there. But it may end up being ugly.
I feel like the cost of saying type alias message equals string versus having your update function just say string versus just making a custom type. I feel like you'll save letters doing type message equals tag selected string.
Really?
Or
well, let's try
it. Right, because you have to do all that. And then when you want to add something, you add
That's fair. Okay, so selected tag. Or message.
Message equals.
Cool. String.
Sweet. That's interesting, though. I never thought about actually taking up Elm on its offer of making message not a custom type.
And then it becomes interesting because then you can just have something that sends a message of a primitive type, and then you can wrap it
Sneaky
from the
boys.
outside.
You see in this,
I
it's
love
delightful. A
the
delightful
the
combination of a
Foxy Gramps.
delightful
Is that
grandpa.
like the
The Foxy
like is
Gramps.
that
Oh, that's
calling
the.
us Foxy Gramps?
Oh,
Or is it
well, that's a
like
perspective.
the E Foxy Gramps? Food for thought.
No. It's thief
Oh,
and
I missed
then
it.
oxygramps
That could be.
or oxy G ramps. No. It's the Foxy Gramps. Like he is the OG foxiest
Oh, it's
grandpa.
just like emphasize. It's like telling you the pronunciation of the. It's not the Foxy Gramps.
Please confirm or deny, please. We'll get back to that. We'll get to the bottom of this mystery.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so what is this unhappy about? Maybe message. There we go. And these things are all capital messages now.
Yeah, you're gonna have a dilemma downstairs with the just because we passed it a string for the label for the text section, and then we didn't use the selected tag constructor, so it's gonna be returning a maybe string, I think.
Nice.
Or is that okay?
Oh,
Does that make?
no, it's gonna be a maybe.
Oh, it's
message.
selected tag. What? I don't know how.
Were you reading that
Wow.
as lowercase selected?
I read that completely weird. I have no idea what my brain's wrong. It's
You might
incorrect.
want to get that checked out.
I'll just go to the hospital real quick. Our queue.
Um,
Oh, we got a HD Bob Ross. That's the answer to our question.
oh,
How does this happen?
that explains it. Yeah.
How many emojis?
We got the
Cool story,
HD
Bob.
version. That's brilliant.
Dude, that's
That's
crisp.
brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so
I gotta look into these emojis here.
now see here. Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a future stream on just the emojis.
They have a Luke Westby emoji. You see this?
What? Are you?
I'm looking at this, man. That looks like a Luke Westby emoji. Seeing this?
That's hilarious.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so I think I need your elm-spa wisdom here, Ryan.
All right.
So now we are at this crossroads where we've got an element message, and that element message, it's like the message that we defined here. But we've stated to the compiler that the message is this message type. So we could
Totally.
so we need to map this guy, right?
We gotta make like coal miners back in the day, and union.
We
gotta make a union.
unionize. Let's do it.
Unionize that message.
This is gonna be
So
like
I like for the top level. Yeah, you can do blog index message and then do that. As you start adding more pages, if you start having like global effects, that's when I break it apart to like page and global, because then you can start doing those cool patterns. But for now, it's totally cool. Just do blog index message.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And then drop that alias.
Yeah. Forget the
You're winning.
aliases. Nice.
Sweet.
Oh.
And the tricky part is we've got to have a blog index model to mess around with too. So our model type's gonna need to upgrade.
So you've got your terminology for that now. Calling it upgrading. So you're using the term upgrade because you use that term
in the package itself.
Yeah. So tell me about
upgrade
that term.
Is,
how do you define that term?
So upgrade is the signature is a little bit weird, but basically if you look at how it's used in generated pages, I think that makes it really clear. Basically, when you are saying I am going to make a model for my pages, and that's at the top of this file, you're saying I can either be on the top page, the docs page, the hello page, or the not found page. So we're using a union type for the model of the message. And what page itself is keeping track of. For example, like the docs model or the docs page is keeping track of its own model. But the whole page is using just model, because it's like, I'm going to be one of these 4 options. So when you're communicating messages upstream, you have to basically tell this file, hey, if I get a message from the docs page, how am I supposed to upgrade that to a message? So around line 40, I don't know, 60 or so,
Yep.
that's where we use the SPA page upgrade function. So all we're doing is we're just providing that page with a way to upgrade itself to the shared model.
Right.
So in the example with pages.top, we're saying if you want to upgrade the top page, you're going to have to give me top model and top message,
right.
Which are basically functions that are going to upgrade it to the real model and message.
Right. You're basically telling it how to delegate those messages and how to wrap the messages and data, and yeah.
Exactly. And that's what keeps this file clean and easy to scan. And like without the CLI, you can just type this
totally
stuff.
Right.
The CLI types it for you because it's easy to explain to a person. So it's really easy to explain to a computer.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But what's cool about that upgrade function is it returns you a record, and we use that record later on in this file, right? So you can just say pages.top.init, and all of a sudden you've got this function that has inside of it all the information it needs to both initialize the page as well as like upgrade it to the common shared model.
Right.
With all the commands and stuff you need.
Yeah, this is very cool.
And that's the exciting part.
I like that a lot. And I think you were telling me that you may be exploring trying to rebuild the elm-spa example that Richard did and seeing what happens if you use your framework. So that would be super cool to see.
I feel like
there.
I think it's gonna be like 95% the same, and then just a bunch of code's gonna get deleted.
Right.
So I might have a video where I just upgrade that spa example, or upgrade it, or just change that to use elm-spa and see what the effect is.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I would love to see that. Very cool. Okay, so nice. So you're saying that our model is now gonna be a custom type 2. So using the same pattern of each like page type has its own model. So that means we're gonna have a blog index model, or like anything else. I don't know. Should I do a maybe, or should I just?
I like I like doing a custom type there. That makes sense to me.
And then this is going to be
index.model, wherever it comes from.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing that's nice is just having those in the same spot. So when you're trying to understand what that code does, you just have one file to look at. And kind of what you described with the benefit of using Elm in general is being able to just have all of that contained in one. When you're looking at a function, you don't have to pull the whole app in your head.
Right.
With this, if you kind of use the same pattern that Evan uses when he made the browser, it's like, okay, I just have to think about a model, message, and view and stuff. It makes a lot easier to follow.
Right, and it's like uniform, so we can look at this, and I mean, we can even see the way we're doing this right here. We can even see which ones have a model, which is cool.
Totally, yeah. And if you're not using the CLI, you're just doing this by hand. You don't have to give everything a model under the hood. You can just say nothing.
Right.
I use a tuple, an empty tuple, just to make the arguments uniform, I think. So you're always providing one argument to the init function or whatever.
Right.
But that's not necessary.
Yeah. Cool. So, right. Yeah, that makes sense. That the way you do it might be a little different if you're doing it by hand or if you're generating it. And it's okay to repeat some things just to have it uniform.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So now we've got a model. We've got our update function is, we're going to have to say like case model, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So instead of nesting these, what elm-spa does is it does the case expression on 127. It makes that a tuple. So you can have in one line message and the model. I think I stole that from Richard. I don't know who I stole that from. Person. I just took it.
I mean, yeah, if it's a good idea, steal it. Don't quote me on that. But you can steal it if you want.
So here we can also destructure that to blog index model.
Right. Yep. Totally.
And the challenges, and Dylan, you're taking note of this, is the underscore, just so that collision with message and model
Totally.
at the top.
Yep.
So I think in elm-spa I call it big message and big model.
Nice.
I didn't really know what to name it, but no one's really looking at that.
Yeah. Right. That seems pretty good too, but it's more typing. Yeah. Yeah. As long as people get the idea.
I think my type features use that, and I think that's a lot. It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Then
nice.
Cool. So here, if you've successfully matched that pattern, you're going to have access to a page message and page model, so you can start doing elm-spa things.
So we're going to have it do the update. So we're doing index.update page message page model.
Yeah. So if you do that, that'll get you back. I'm assuming the update function is just going to return a single model with no commands, right?
Yeah.
So for this, you can get away with that, and then you just have to basically do the model record update syntax, or pipe it into blog page model or something like that. A blog index model, you need to pipe that into so that it returns a model overall.
Right.
And this is a problem that elm-spa solves,
right?
Because the way you're going to do this for something that doesn't return a command is going to look a lot different than the way you're going to do it for something that does.
Mm-hmm.
So we can start here, and we can upgrade later if we want to.
Right.
But I think this is the simplest and best thing to do right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I just did a debug.todo, but what I really want is a message, and then I'm doing case message here.
Yeah.
And I've got the selected tag, and I need a model, and I guess I'll just
update that
property, bad boy. Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
The perfect crime.
Cool. So how do we get something happening? What's our next step?
Yeah, so we definitely want a init function for this, right? So I'd give that a model, and I'd define an init, so you can say, like, initially I want this tag selected, or initially I don't.
Right. Yep. So we contain the knowledge of the model and how to init it within this.
Mm-hmm.
Expose that. Another handy feature of IntelliJ Elm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's our main init. Now, this is kind of based on the route, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to have to look at the URL query parameter to really initialize it, right?
Mm-hmm. What did I mess up? There's... That's not a proper message. Okay, so I just was returning a unit type for my message always, but so there's this like on-page change, much like in a regular Elm browser app. If we go to our message, I need to just say on-page change, and
cool.
I'm just gonna say that no matter where I am, just don't change anything.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's cool.
Is it still unhappy?
Yeah, so the return type of this.
Aha. Yes. Should we do list time?
So I think blog index. Oh, that makes sense.
Blog index message. There we are.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, it's compiling now. Well, Is it compiling now? Maybe not.
Let's check out that blog. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you're on the anything else page, we didn't cover that case. So usually I'll have, either you can say, if I get a blog index message with anything else, I'll do nothing.
Whoa, what just
Or you
happened
just put
with...
an underscore at the bottom.
Interesting. That was
That
weird.
was magic.
Huh. Very weird.
That was very
Yeah,
weird.
sorry. Okay, so
I'm impressed.
yeah. Okay, so you're saying we have to handle like this kind of thing. Like if we didn't mention
Exactly,
these.
yeah.
And
you can replace that with a single underscore too.
right. And we're just going to do a no up.
That's what I do. Yep. So in the event that you're basically getting a message on a page that you're no longer on, don't mess with anything.
Ideally, and
let's say you had like a timer, right? You had like a timer every 1,000 milliseconds. It would update, a counter. It would be a bad time if you navigated to a page and then a second went by and you went back because you didn't use it all.
Yeah. It is interesting because I guess that's where like global messages and model come into play, because like in elm-spa, can you have something where you make a global message that does an HTTP request, and it just, like, whatever page you change to while it's performing the HTTP request, it could take 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It just gets it. Yeah. That's cool.
You just store it on the global model, so it wouldn't be dependent on which page
Nice.
you want.
That's very cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Life hacks.
Yeah, because that is because that can happen. Like Elm could come back with a message a while later, but it makes sense that it's our responsibility as application authors to deal with that as a global message if we really need to handle that message, whatever page we change to.
Yeah, and a path I almost went down that I want to warn people about is it is possible if you go back to our message type. You see how we're doing like this, like on the update here, we're doing this like tuple destructuring.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of clunky on line 138 and 139 to have to specify like,
Totally.
but not if I don't have a model. And that kind of raises the question, well, can I guarantee I always have a model when I get a message? And the answer is yes. On line 122, we could put our page model in the message as a prerequisite. So we could say blog index message with index.model, index.message. And when we did the element.map, we could pass in the current model every time. Don't do that. It sounds like a really cool idea. What ends up happening is command.batch doesn't behave as expected because you're getting basically two copies of a model. So let's say I was just doing a counter app.
Right.
If I hit the counter and hit the counter, it would only increment. It would do 0 to 1, and then it would do 0 to 1. You wouldn't end up with 2. You have whichever one finished first.
I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. So it's like, because you're associating the state with a message. So if you get multiple messages coming in, however that happens, like you said, you could perform 2 HTTP requests at once. Then it's a race condition. Whichever one comes in first, it's going to contain the model when you initiated that.
Yep. And any changes to that model won't be available when the next HTTP request comes in.
Right.
But yeah, the easiest way to break it is you do a command.batch and you have increment and increment as your 2 messages, and you'll click the button and you'll see it only goes up by 1. And that's because the model that you pass into the update function is actually stale. It's the old one. Right. You're using the same old model twice.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing. It is really nice to have the peace of mind that a framework is taking care of that for you. So I think elm-spa really solves like a much needed solution to a real problem, which is it's just a little error prone to do that by hand, not to mention tedious. And you can get more, like, I mean, having these default cases is kind of a bummer too, but you have to in this case. There's no way to avoid it, but at least if it's generated, then you can be confident that you're not missing any cases.
Totally. That's the big risk. Like if you go to the generated routes file for the init, there's 2 places where it's dangerous that the Elm compiler can't help you. and one of those is on the routes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I added a page, a init would yell at me because I didn't handle the case. View would yell at me. That's if I remember to add a route for that page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I add a route to that page, the case expression in the route would yell at me, but the URL parsers, there wouldn't be anything wrong because you just give it a list and it's not exhaustive in any way.
Right.
So I remember showing Michael. We work with Michael Neesner at HubTran, and I showed him this, and he pointed to the URL parsers. He's like, "That's cool, but fix this part. Like, I don't want to add it here anymore."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, I'll fix that part."
Nice.
Turns out that's not an Elm only solution, which is totally fine. Elm doesn't need to be doing all that stuff. We can outsource that to like a simple build tool or something.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's try to get our link clicking. See if we can get. So where we left off was we need our init to have access to the initial page. So let's just do this and
Give the people what they
give
want.
the people what they want. This is what you get.
Ooh, a maybe. Dylan.
Well, yeah. So because you get a page path,
Sure.
which is it's not just like here's the URL. It's one of a known of static URLs.
Mm-hmm.
But the app might start at something that's not one of those static URLs. Like if you have a URL for /hello, but not for /goodbye. If you go to /goodbye, that's not a static page you have, then you get nothing because it's not. So this page path is going to be one of a discrete set of options that you know it's going to be one of those, and you have a compile time guarantee. That's what this magical phantom type is.
That makes sense. I think in elm-spa inside a page path, like my equivalent of that is route, and I make it so you have to put in, you have to describe what the not found route is.
Right, which is very cool.
And that's something you do on the outside of the generated code.
Right. Yeah, that's very cool. I think I could definitely borrow from that pattern. I'm also going to be introducing dynamic routing. I'm thinking through like the right design for that. But I think I'll think about a design for that as I do that. So now.
So what do we do in the nothing case? Do we just return anything else?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I like to get things like compiling first and then iterate on it. So so now we can.
Yeah, I like that talk you gave. Was that Elm Europe?
Oh, that was a fun one. Thanks. Yeah.
The workshop.
I did a workshop there, and then I did that talk on type-driven development on getting things compiling as soon as possible and keep hard coding things, fake it till you make it. Yeah, that was a fun one. I like
fake it till you make it.
Gotta fake it.
Cool.
So the page path. So here's what I was talking about. Is it's a discrete set of things. So we can say if the page path equals pages dot blog index. Mm-hmm. This is like so like if I look at the generated code here, it's a record that can only be these things. So the only way I can get something of this type is by using these hard-coded values. So I can't refer to something that doesn't exist. You know, I can't just say whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's this type that I have to get from this discrete list of statically known routes.
Totally.
So if it's the blog index, then we init the blog index. So we can say it's index.init, and we have to wrap that in our blog index model. Cool.
Totally.
Is this
Nice.
whole session just like an advertisement for like, man, hand wiring routes is such a pain. If
It
only
is
there were a
lame.
better way.
If you open up a terminal right now, an elm-spa init, we can do a quick comparison to see how quickly we could
Nice.
we could do this. You'd be happily you'd be pleased. But that would be interesting to see if we just add the tags thing. But let's wait till we do the tags.
Yeah, let's get the tags.
Because you're about to return to the part
That'd be a
you're interested
bonus.
in. This is the big thing elm-spa is trying to fix is like, you had a feature you wanted to add.
Exactly.
And that was click a tag and show, filter the post.
Yep.
And you have been spending the past, like, I don't know, 30 minutes not getting to do what you wanted.
Exactly. And it's not like, it's not buying me anything. If it's not like a handcrafted artisanal like message and message sending. Like if a framework generates it, a mass-produced, generated thing is just as good. It can do just as good or better of a job because it's not going to make mistakes. It's not going to forget to handle the default case and stuff.
Yeah.
So
let's add the feature and then let's quickly just make a project with like tag filter.
Sounds good.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's do it. All right. So we've initted it. We've got our messages coming in. So now are we compiling? We're compiling. So if we do this like in debug mode,
we'll see the actual output.
Yeah, we can actually see our model changing, and then we'll have to. Okay, cool. So now we can like maybe we can just say like selected tag or something. Let's do something with that data now that we have it. So. We're not getting our model here. So we need our model. Dude, is the first argument. Aha. So now we need to do a case statement here too. So this is like a little different than a regular LMAP because the way we're like doing the routing is based on the metadata, but same idea.
It would be great if you could init based off the metadata as opposed to that route, right? So that when you got here, your model was already on the...
I totally can. That's what I think I can. I like that. If you can't do that now, then I will change it so that you can. Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's cool.
Okay, so case model of blog index model.
Because what's tricky is now there's all these edge cases. You're like, well, what do I do if I don't? It's like return this empty. Return this empty.
Exactly, which is a smell, and the solution is code generation. Yeah.
Cool. So the view just needs the model, which I don't think it knew about before this.
I passed it in the wrong order. There we are. And
cool.
This can just be default case, and I'll say...
Like what's the title of a... You know what I mean? You're going to have some weird...
Right.
That's so funny. I made a... what was I doing? I made it literally do with like 4 H's. I wonder if this is elm-spa. I think you might be able to find this in the code base.
That's awesome.
I was like, I don't know what to do here. Maybe it was the not found page. I'm not sure.
You should like give a code to like a prize, like enter this discount code in to get this prize.
Oh, I got it. All right, so the ports. So if you in JavaScript enter elm-spa add, it goes to elm and it's a string. If you type in elm-spa build comes in the elm and it's a string. But if you just type it, for some reason, if my JavaScript didn't protect the elm app from getting like elm-spa bananas, it calls the port. So I have ports and it just takes an empty tuple.
Nice.
I'll just paste that in the chat. If anyone wants to make fun of me, this is trust code on the internet from strangers. They're always very, very smart. Uh, I hope no one would see it, but then
And
I
then
showed everyone.
you shared it with the world on the internet.
I'm
That's
my own
great.
worst nightmare. But yeah, the CLI tools in Elm app, which is kind of cool. That's another thing I didn't really mention. But I got Elm
Yeah, that
tests
is
running
super
around
cool.
my code generation, and I'm so happy I added tests. I know you're a huge proponent of tests. I
Mm-hmm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
I That's like one of the reasons I redesigned elm-spa 4 is because I didn't know how to maintain 3, and I made it.
Right.
I didn't have any logic document
Oh,
anywhere.
dude, end-to-end tests are so great for that stuff too. I gave you my rant about that. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I literally was thinking about you yesterday, and I was going to add in literally just the elm-spa init commands. Can I do a init, add a
Yeah.
static, add a sandbox, add an element,
We
do
should do
this,
like a
do
live
build?
stream and we can pair on adding some end-to-end tests. That could be fun.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick. I've got Travis CI running.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a full on person.
That's awesome. Ooh, hey, look at this. Our
That's
selected
great.
tag. This was very advanced. Very advanced. We got a tag to display. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much an infomercial for using elm-spa and for and for me to try to either figure out lessons from elm-spa or figure out how to integrate with
Mhm.
elm-spa. But I think you know, in the JavaScript ecosystem, like Next.js and Gatsby sort of, you know, they give you this structure that like tries to make it easier to do these things and say like, hey, you probably want to do routing. So here's a file structure, put your files in this structure and it'll do the routing. You know, we need the same stuff in Elm. Like here's your file structure, and then Elm Spa generates the routing and all that unpleasant stuff for you that is well suited for a computer to do. It's boring, it's tedious, it's error prone when done by a human, it's not error prone when done by a machine.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out something like this for Elm pages because I've been thinking about this, and I think that, I mean, it would be super cool to be able to have certain types of metadata associated with a model and an update or whatever, and say like, yeah, when you're on the
Mhm.
blog index, this is the state that it has, or you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and all those types are general and the thing. So I don't pass in like route parameters to your pages, and I pass in flags. So you can just say I want my page path, I want my metadata,
Mm-hmm.
and every page would have access to that. Whether you could, I'm curious. I don't know. I guess yeah. No, I expose that. I guess the problem is the generate bit. It calls route within it,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd have to make that either you couldn't use the CLI or you need to think that through a little bit more because
Mm-hmm.
right now it's looping through like all the routes and rendering the page and passing in parameters. So the CLI doesn't support it, but the package, the Elm package does.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about actually.
Mm.
Jeroen, like 2 a.m,
Yeah.
messaged me with all this feedback, and it was awesome. He had
Oh,
so many great
cool. Yeah,
ideas.
Jeroen is great. He's a very thoughtful guy. He's got a lot of great insights. Yeah.
Yeah, I was blown away. He showed me how you can make modules with underscores in the name. Don't do this, but like you can.
Yeah.
And so I think I can get away with the
Yeah. Cool.
named parameters.
Oh,
So
cool. Oh,
I
that's
can do
exciting.
dynamic underscore user ID. So I'm gonna play around with that. What's really cool is that's just a CLI change. That's not actually a package publishing thing I
Mm-hmm.
have to do.
That's amazing.
Um,
Okay, let's do a lightning round
cool.
here, Ryan. So we kind of teased this earlier. Let's do it. Let's do
Hmm.
the bonus round, which is
Sweet. We start from scratch,
compare
dude.
and
We're doing LMSPA.
contrast.
I want you to
All right.
see. I want you to uninstall
All right.
LMSPA.
All right.
I want them to see it install in half a second
All right, let's do
because I
it.
have no dependence. All right,
Okay,
you guys ready
ready?
for
You
this?
guys ready to make a clip? So,
Get flip this up,
building a
and that's
spa
gonna. I'm gonna
in 30 seconds. So, okay, we're going to do
30 seconds.
elm install
You
global,
crazy?
npm install global
Elm
elm
dash dash.
spa. Sorry, I'm slowing down. I gotta be on the ball here.
Bam. 0.472
That's pretty
seconds.
sweet. Elm spa,
Init
init elm
Twitch boys,
spa, Twitch boys.
Twitch boys and girls, Twitch girls, whatever, doesn't matter.
Uh,
All right, so yeah. All right, open this guy up in Visual Studio Code for pure speed. Ooh,
Boom.
look at him go.
Boom.
He's installing in the background. All right, control backtick me.
There she is.
All right, elm-spa, add, and then what are we calling it? Blog. Yeah, add blog, capital B.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. So I don't even know my own commands.
That's great.
All right, so we want to keep track of
was
state.
helpful about it.
And
Yeah.
sandbox is what we want. Sandbox doesn't do any commands or anything, so we don't have to worry about all those weird type signatures. If you command click that output, it'll just go straight to the file.
Ooh, pro tip. Love it. Love it.
Whew.
Love it.
All right, we're rolling.
Wow.
So flags, we don't have any URL parameters that we need to worry about right now. The query string is actually interesting. So model, we want to add selected tags. That's a list of, that's a maybe string, right?
Yes.
Selected tag.
Yep.
We'll edit that in one place. Message, we want to change no op to selected tag. Again, this feels stupid.
Tag selected.
Perfect. And then string.
Cool.
Great. We save that. We get an error, right? Because our no op doesn't exist. What do we want to do in the event that we update that model? We want to just return model pipe selected tag equals just, and then the tag that we get from the message. Sweet. Save that. All right, to our view, right? So now we got to look at it.
And it wants us to init.
Smart.
Which good call. Good call, Elm IDE. Okay. Why isn't it formatting?
It'll get. You're doing a lot. VS Code doesn't format when it doesn't.
Okay, there we go. It did it.
All right, so here let's just do a debug.toString of the model and add some tags that we can render. Yep. Right. We'll just hard code them for now. I'm so like hyped.
Yeah, this is fun. Okay.
Cool. And then just do
a
comma
down with
and
the pipes.
Oh, I'm down with the pipes.
All right, nice.
Let's just make a list. elm-spa is dope. Those will be our tags. Cool. We'll just list.map that through button, right? And then events on click and all that stuff. All that good stuff.
All right.
You go in the order you're comfortable with. I'm just free streaming my brain.
No, this is great. On click.
Parenthesis boys.
Selected tag name.
Save it. You got any errors here? Oh, we got that one. All right, what are they yelling about here? We map it. Oh, that's right. So that's a list of buttons. We just got to put it to a div at the very end.
All right.
All right. Localhost 8000 /blog. Is
much advanced. Let's just to get the satisfaction.
All right, check this out. Add a class step button. Oh, it's attributes. We got to import, right? This is using that shady CSS framework that I rolled. It just comes with it because that's insane. But it's really similar to Elm UI. So if you just add the button class to this, it'll look like a button. And then if we add a class to the div, we can just add class row and spacing. So just do row spacing, -- medium, I think.
Or like this.
There you go. There's your spacing. Thanks, Matt.
Dang, dude. Amazing.
There you go. How long was that?
Round.
What was that? Lightning round.
Did somebody clip that? Tweet that.
Someone clip it. One of these 11 people must have clipped it. These are the 11 that
yes, the champions.
But that's what
this is the reward for staying till the very end. You get the lightning round. We should
this isn't even
we should snip this. We should just tweak this. the Foxy Gramps is I don't know what that means. Is that mind blown? He's pog champed.
He's yelling. He's yelling with joy. He's being maximum foxy.
Yeah, this is great. So, yeah, I think I'll probably just edit down like this last section because this was kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe
great.
we'll like make the first
It's
part black and white, and I'll be like, "Oh no, not again! I have to wire in all these messages."
yeah, and you just like zoom in on my face, just being sad, watching you type all this cool stuff.
Then we'll have like the phone
That would be a
number
good. That would be a fun
in all
video.
yellow.
You know that the Vine where it's like the robot slipping on the banana peel and just zooms in, it's like, no, you just tell everyone that you're fine, but you're not fine.
I don't know that one, but I like it. I like it.
I'll send it.
Please
You'll have
link
it.
it. We'll put it
This
in
will
the
be
YouTube
something
show notes. Um,
sweet.
cool. Well, this was amazing. Thank you so much for joining the show, Ryan, and sharing your Elm Spa wisdom
Weird
and giving
stuff.
us a demo. That was amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's do it again. And yeah, thanks everybody for sticking around. This was great. Take care, all.
Bye.
Bye bye.